Hey everybody, this is Bully coming to you live, and this is Rekt.
Hello and welcome to Rekt Podcast. I am Bunchu alongside my esteemed colleague and co-host, Crypto Chamber. Chamber, how you doing, buddy?
Doing pretty good, man. It's what time is it? It is 9:34 in the evening.
Yeah, we usually record these at 8 in the morning.
I know. So we must have the best possible guest because this is way past my bedtime.
Well, I would say we do almost a white whale type guest for us. I think we've tweeted at Bully. I don't know, maybe a 1,000 times in the last 2 years, and finally we just hit the right one.
I think he blocked us for the most part. He must have got him in a moment of. Maybe where he unblocked us for a minute and then forgot to block us again. But we took full advantage.
So we are very excited to have the one and only Bully on the show today. Number 86 on your recent crypto Twitter must follow list, by the way. So I don't know. Did you see that list that went around last week, Bully?
Yeah, I did actually. I saw that I have bad food takes, but everyone says that, so that's.
I think that's your calling card. I think one of your many crypto Twitter calling cards. But so we are very excited for this episode. I know Chamber has been wanting to have Bully on for quite some time, so we appreciate you joining us. And how you doing?
Yeah, guys. No, thanks for having me. It's I feel like we've all sort of just twiddled our thumbs for 2 years, and all of a sudden it's game time again. So I feel like overwhelmed and sort of reinvigorated, and
it really it really ramped up quickly on us, didn't it?
It did. Yeah. No, and I mean, now we have like people farming yams, and I'm like trying to keep up, man.
You have no idea. You hit it right on the head, man. Like I was on Twitter today, and I'm like, where the hell have I been? I already feel like I'm behind the 8 ball.
I still am. I definitely still am.
What happened? Like I feel like I should have been ahead of the I should have been ahead of the curve on this one, and I already feel like I'm
years and years, guys. What were we doing? I guess
like,
I was posting about pizza. Yeah.
Yeah, you were tweeting about pizza. Me and Chambers tweeting about God knows what. And
all sorts of crazy stuff.
I tweet like once a fiscal quarter, so like that's pretty much it. But yeah, so I mean, definitely been time to pay attention lately. So, but it feels different this time too, though. Like you said, I mean, last time was ICOs and DEXs and all these things, and now you got, like you said, yam farming and buying socks on Uniswap, and who the fuck knows what's going on. So I don't even know how to use this stuff, and I'm like, where the hell have I been for the last 2 years? And so have you dabbled in the Uniswap craziness yet? All right, so we were just talking about this on our last episode, and we were just trying to kind of fumble through it ourselves, and since then Chamber is now even providing liquidity, I believe.
I have an irresponsible amount of money on Uniswap currently.
And no one can move it because transaction fees are like $1,000 each.
Exactly.
So walk me through it. How are you dabbling in the Uniswap craze?
So it's been a couple weeks now. I think the original sort of thing that got me into it was Messiah being like, crypto tendies is going to be the next Doge. So I was like, shit, fine. I have
what
to,
what a fucking sentence, huh?
I know. Imagine our ancestors who like fought the Nazis and stuff being like, oh, you have to buy tendies? It's Doge? Like,
what some sort of chicken byproduct?
Oh my God.
Yeah, no, so that was my first foray, and then I think Tendies, I got like a 3 or 4x on it, so I was like, yeah, okay, I could get used to this, and then I started looking at other stuff, and I'm in a few Telegram groups, and you talk about the different tokens and stuff. It's wild, man. Stuff moves so quick, and like within 24 hours, stuff is like come and gone, so you have to pay really close attention. It's just overwhelming.
It's
well, I
true.
mean, yeah, just speaking about yams alone, we were talking about that earlier. I mean, I think at the start of the day, people were yamming it up, and then by, shortly after lunch, I think it took a tank, and it's down, I don't know how much percent, but there was a big red candle down on yams, mid-afternoon today, so it's
I'm more
insane.
a sweet potato guy myself, but I mean...
So I think that was actually like, technically, they call it a rebase, but I guess it's sort of like a split. So if you had one yam, you got 10, but then the price like went 90% down to account for that because
I see.
I tweeted that and I was like, whoa, look at how wrecked that is, and someone's like, you're an idiot, you don't understand. And also I deleted it, and I'm like, all right. Yeah, but it's just like that's sort of a good analogy of how quickly all of this stuff moves.
Well, the other thing we were talking about the other day was there were 2 coins that popped up on Uniswap that did some kind of X, and then they've already exit scammed.
Oh, right, Nugs or whatever.
Yeah, Nugs, and what was the other one? I don't even remember. Next,
Nugs was the important one. Yeah.
I can't believe a crypto token called Nugs would exit scam.
Chamber was providing all the liquidity.
Yeah. They didn't let me in on the scam, unfortunately.
Oh, man. Hey, I mean, they had the coolest website I've seen.
By far had the coolest website.
I guess that's a don't judge a book by its cover lesson there.
That's very true, very true. But yeah, man, so it's been pretty wild. So other than Uniswap, what are your current thoughts on where we are with the market and everything like that? What are you seeing?
So, I mean, it seems like we're breaking out of a multi-year long bear market into, fresh bull territory. I have a feeling Ethereum just being propelled by this massive Uniswap push is going to melt faces over the next couple months.
Feels like that, right?
Yeah, like it just there's a lot of price discovery to be had there, I think. And Bitcoin is obvious. Bitcoin's like almost like branching off now and doing its own thing. It's like growing up. It's like the cool teenage brother that's like off doing important stuff now.
Smoking clove cigarettes for the first time.
Right. Yeah, like that. I think that broke yesterday that publicly traded company is just like converting $250 million of its balance sheet cash into Bitcoin. It's like, oh my God, that's like a $250 million.
Right. And basically what that means is a publicly traded company is saying, hey, Bitcoin is money, right? Like that's it. And so that's a big deal. So yeah, I think you're right with Bitcoin's kind of on another level. But I don't know if that necessarily means we're going to be in Pump City for Bitcoin, or if it's more mature than we're kind of giving crypto credit for. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't know. I do think that, I mean, there's institutional demand for Bitcoin, and it's sort of growing up, so you have that driving the price. And then, you have all of these sort of interesting macroeconomic issues related to, like, the Fed printing $6 trillion this quarter, and, like, that will inevitably lead to inflation, so people are looking for a hedge, whether it's gold or Bitcoin or even, some other commodity. And
Tendies.
People... Yeah, tenders, right?
Chicken tenders.
So, yeah, there's all of this sort of interesting geopolitical, macroeconomic stuff going on. And then you look to your right and you see this, like, massive gold rush of, like, shit tokens on Uniswap. So, like, there's just all of these forces bubbling the whole market up, which has been fun to watch.
Yeah, it's been pretty crazy. And it doesn't feel like... It feels like it's different this time. I know everybody says that every time that there's a little alt movement, but it definitely feels a little more bullish.
Right.
I would say. What did you say, Chamber?
I mean, if you're saying that, I mean,
yeah, I'm the resident bear, and I literally haven't bought an alt in a year and a half until
I have blood rushing to parts of my body right now that I can't very well discuss in good
Your
company
brain,
here. Yeah, exactly. Like, I mean, if Bunchu's getting excited and if he's saying it's different, I mean, come on. I literally
that doesn't mean I'm doing.
I'm providing
right.
all liquidity for every exchange now.
I've been the resident bear for the last year and a half, bully. So,
Fair enough.
it's if I'm buying an alt, it means that something it feels different. So
It's like good cop, bad cop.
yeah, that's pretty much what we are here on this podcast.
Smart cop, dumb cop, really, more like it.
Yeah, but anyway, so other than the market stuff, you've been getting involved in some other side projects. So you are working on the alpha market, correct?
Yeah.
Did you you're a founder of that, right?
I am. Yeah, it's actually Dale and I started.
Oh,
it.
okay. I didn't realize Dale was as well.
Yeah, he's involved. So it kind of went through this long process of us actually launching it, and originally, so I don't know if you guys follow these personal tokens. So a few folks of the Ethereum community have launched like a token for themselves. There's Ruben Baratheon, or I forget his last name, and then there's
from Game of Thrones.
Yeah,
Right,
he was one of the kings, I believe.
and then there's another Ethereum guy, and so they both basically did a personal ICO where they said, I'm going to issue 1,000 tokens, and then people can buy those and redeem those tokens for my time or my services or something.
Oh, that's pretty
Like good for one free back rub kind of thing, or
yeah,
Sure, yeah.
They're like Chamber. Those coupons Chamber makes his wife. For their
I'm gonna make her some on the Ethereum next Valentine's Day.
That's a great idea. It gets you out of buying a card at least. So, I saw that and I was like, well, there's some weird sort of securities laws issues there. And I kind of come from a background in technology where I was in marketplaces and payments. So I was like, well, why don't we just have some sort of marketplace where people in the fintech or crypto space can go on and list their services. So if you're a back-end developer and you can code Apache or something, you can go on and list your services for whatever, $300 an hour or whatever it is, or by the job if you charge, $2,500 to do a wireframe and a mock-out of a back-end. You can do that, and then you can list your services there, and people in the space can find you, and hopefully if they're looking in the space, they are seeking developers or people in the space that understand it and don't need to be told what a private key is. They already know that.
Right.
So if you go on Fiverr or Upwork, there are a lot of developers, but not a lot of them have the sort of specific expertise.
Sure, this is just one extra
crypto.
level of niche that I think is really cool. Yeah, it does. I mean, it reminds me when I'm on the website of exactly that, like Fiverr and Upwork and things like that. But I like this because it's very much exactly what you said. It's this specific niche. So if you're working on something like that, then this is where you go to post your your freelance services, which is pretty cool. So how's it been being received? Because it's been a pretty. I mean, it's been out for quite a bit, right?
Yeah, I think we went live in May.
May. Cool.
3 months maybe.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's been good. We have I think 300 unique signups, and we have over 120 unique listings, and I think we're averaging a couple thousand visitors a week to the website. So we're seeing a steady track up, and then we're seeing more transactions actually occur, which is how we make money and how the freelancers make money. So that's what we're really focused on, is kind of closing the sale on some of this stuff and making sure that people actually stay interested. And so it's been fun seeing a community develop as people get involved, and then businesses and projects go there to find talent and
do you see have you seen like a pretty good reception from some of the either companies and projects in the space kind of listing, or people that are working or posting their own services? Has it been kind of well received?
Yeah, it's been super well received. I mean, the folks that are using it, and the freelancers like it because it gives them a platform to sort of advertise their services. It's free to sign up. It's free to like list their services. So it's really no sweat off their back to go and just spend 5 minutes to set up a profile. And then if they get a bite, that's great. And it's just free advertisement because Dale and I and others that are involved have been promoting it, and then so it drives traffic, and they basically get free advertisement for their services.
Yeah,
and
that's
then
great.
The folks who actually need stuff done, instead of having to like hire someone or go through a long process of trying to find someone, they can kind of stop. It's sort of like a one-stop shop for their project. It's mainly been smaller, like startup crypto projects, like getting logos or having a website designed, or
sure,
sort of small one-off jobs. I think the bigger companies probably haven't. They have a larger scale, so it might take a little more scaling to get into that market. But for now, it's sort of like the small, medium-sized projects that are using it.
That's pretty cool. So the website for anybody interested. Yeah, the website is alphamarket.io. So go ahead and check that out. Chamber, this is different than OnlyFans, so do not confuse the two. You don't belong on here.
I don't know. I was gonna say, Bully. Obviously, launching in May, middle of the pandemic. Do you think that was obviously the whole working world has kind of shifted a little bit. Big companies are realizing a lot of people can work from home now. There's been corporate restructuring, all sorts of different things like that. I think freelancing has probably picked up since then. People work from home, that kind of thing. Do you think that's helped you guys in that launch, or did it hurt you? Or
I think it's helped a lot. And I mean, frankly, we probably would be launching like right about now if the pandemic hadn't happened.
Really?
But we just saw an opportunity because, like you remember back in March and April when like 10 million people a week in America were losing their jobs, and like the
Chamber, you got corporately restructured, right?
I did. I did. They asked me to go full-time crypto.
Well, at least it's about a bull market, so.
Yeah, no, fuck, it couldn't have happened at any better time, I'll tell you.
But yeah, no, that was definitely like our thought process in launching. We're just like, let's get an MVP out there, let's go. And in my opinion, it's almost still in beta. Like, we don't even have crypto payments live, and that's one thing we were really focused on and we're working on right now with our developer is to like get those integrated, but it just took a bit. So we're like, let's just get it out there, and if people really need it, they can use it, and hopefully it'll be a resource for anyone who may be out of work or like laid off or furloughed or something, where they can go and make a little extra cash. Because
now somebody of my talents, I'm not a dev, I'm not a tech guy, I can't build a website. I really have nothing to bring to the table.
You could build a Squarespace website.
Yeah, I think most people can. I think my mom built one the other day. But obviously, this is probably you're looking for more of a tech background. I would imagine a lot of these. Is there something for maybe somebody that's maybe more into sales or marketing, that kind of thing?
Yeah, so we definitely have like a tab for consultants. So if you're, if you consult, if you're an accountant, like sort of the white collar side of the fintech world, there's certainly opportunities for sales and social media, account management, and things like that. And there's also like if you have, for example, a podcast, and you're looking for advertisers, you could always list. I think Hashrate listed a spot for like an advertisement slot.
Hey, there you go, Chamber.
Look at that. That's a good idea.
So
I think you're going to do that this evening.
I like to jump on things very quickly. So no, that's exciting. That's good to know.
Yeah, so we tried to make it sort of as flexible as people wanted. You know, if they thought like, oh, I have a trading algorithm bot that I want to like let people subscribe to, or I have a newsletter, or you know, it can be pretty broad in what you're offering, and that's the idea. It's not. So there's this sort of like jargon in the tech world versus a horizontal marketplace versus a vertical marketplace. And ours is a vertical marketplace because it's intended to kind of capture the entire life cycle of a crypto project. So from like the IT crypto or the IT development backend all the way to sort of sales and marketing and accounting and like any service that a fintech or crypto company may need.
Interesting.
It may be available there.
That's pretty cool. For
Definitely
example, if any project wanted you to tweet food takes, you could list that as a service. I think you could go
questionable
right to
food takes.
Terrific food takes.
Terrific food takes. Cool, man. That's a really interesting project. I think it's an awesome idea. I think it brings a lot of value to the space. So that's pretty cool. So everybody go check it out, alphamarket.io. And then there's another project that you've been involved with as well, right? Arrow?
Yeah, this one I've been involved with for longer, and I'm also a co-founder of this. We launched Arrow.
No big deal.
Yeah, look at you.
Jeez.
Hey, I mean, look, I think you were in the wrong category on that list.
Yeah.
I've just, like I said, the bear market was quiet, so I just sort of went around building projects, and maybe one of them hits, and maybe one of them doesn't. But I didn't want to sort of waste away my time just doing food takes. So Arrow requires a little bit more of an explanation, and you kind of alluded to this earlier when you're like, well, what do you think is precipitating the crypto push right now? And so everyone's kind of speculating on what the next thing will be. Right now it's DeFi, right? That's the big hot topic. But I think, and I've thought for a long time, that privacy will start to become more and more important to people as like cash disappears. And we're seeing that, especially during the pandemic. Like here in the States, a lot of businesses are no longer even accepting paper cash anymore.
Yeah, we have that a lot here in Canada as well.
And there's apparently a coin shortage as well, which I didn't know about.
That too. And so, cash, if you think about cash, it's a pretty... Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but
no.
I was just saying cash is like a really incredible instrument. It's super private, right? Like if I give you a $20 bill, there's no record of that.
Right.
And that's fine. There doesn't need to be. But there's no sort of digital equivalent to cash. And privacy coins, I think, are an attempt to create that. And we looked around, and there were sort of a few key players in the privacy coin space. Obviously, there's Monero and Zcash. And we really like the Zcash technology because of the ZK snarks aspect of it. So Monero kind of just takes all the transactions and it jumbles them up, right? It'll like send them and sort of mix them all around. Whereas Zcash actually like effectively encrypts the data, the transactional data. So it's like having an HTTPS website. So like the outside user can't see the data that's being transacted across the blockchain. But when we looked at Zcash, no one actually used the shielding feature. So in Zcash, you can do shielded or unshielded.
I think I saw, you're totally right. I think I saw something somewhere that only like 20% of people actually use that feature.
And that's only one way. So for it to be fully shielded, it has to be outgoing and incoming fully shielded. So it can either be T or Z in Zcash land, which is transparent, or ZK snarks, which is shielded. So if one way is shielded, the other way isn't. So it's still not shielded. So we discovered only like, I think 0.4% of all transactions were fully shielded, which is like an insanely low number.
Yeah, that's crazy.
So our idea was, well, why not just fork Zcash, start over from block 0, and make it mandatory shielded. So there's no way that you could send a transparent transaction.
Why would it, if it's something like Zcash, in your opinion, why wouldn't you shield it? I mean, what's the point of using it, right? Kind of.
Well,
I mean, why wouldn't you?
There's some historical context there about Zcash. Originally, the ZK Snarks transactions were super computationally intensive. It was something like 3 megabytes per transaction, which doesn't sound like much, but if you're doing hundreds of transactions or trying to do it like on a mobile phone or something, it wasn't practical. So a lot of the wallets that were built for Zcash were like, we're just going to use it transparent. And there's also some regulatory stuff there too, where exchanges got nervous about accepting shielded transactions, so they wanted all their incoming and outgoing transactions into the exchange to be unshielded. So those two things sort of drove people using Zcash to use the transparent addresses as opposed to the shielded addresses, and then it just became sort of standard. And now I think there is, to Zcash's credit, I think there is an effort within their development community to sort of try to push back to that. But even if you do that, there's still all of this transactional data that's immutable on the blockchain forever that's transparent. So, all of these data analytics companies can now go out and identify, I think it's like Chain Analysis, it's called. There's that company, and they work with like the IRS and the Department of Justice to like go through blockchain transactions and trace them. And if they have the input on one, they can like go and detangle a bunch of different transactions. So our thought was, well, if you started at 0, if you start at block 0 and they're all shielded, there's no chance of that. Then all the transactional data is encrypted, it's private, as it ought to be, and people can use it how they use money now. Like, if you spend money with your bank, like, you don't expect anyone off the street to be able to see the details of that transaction.
Now, are you going to run into the same issues, like the sizing issues, like you had mentioned, like with mobile phones or mobile apps?
Well, actually, over time, one of the most recent iterations of the Zcash blockchain that we forked from had drastically reduced the size of those transactions.
Oh, good.
So they're down to like 100 kilobytes or something. And I might have my numbers mixed up a little bit here, but the idea is that they've dramatically reduced the overall size of those transactions.
So that issue may not be there.
Yeah. And as for the compliance issue, Zcash, which is another reason why we forked Zcash instead of Monero, Zcash has a unique property, which is being able, this memo field. I don't know if you've ever used Zcash, but there's like an encrypted memo field, almost like the memo field in a check, where you can like put a little message. And exchanges can actually use that to kind of track outgoing transactions just so they have a record of it. And then they're in compliance with these sort of FAFT and anti-money laundering rules that they're required to comply with under the Banking Act.
Very interesting. And this is, so Arrow Chain is mineable, correct?
It is, yep. It's a proof of work network. The blocks are 45 seconds. And I published a white paper. Well, I helped publish a white paper that's on the website that sort of lays out the other upgrades we made to the Zcash network. So we changed the mining algorithm to make it a little more difficult for ASICs to mine it. We shortened the block times and sort of a few other things. We drastically reduced the founder's reward and things like that. So.
Now, for the white paper, was there a particular coin or token that you copied it from, or did you do something weird and like make your own?
No, I decided to write it from scratch because this was around the time of.
I feel like copy and paste must have been much easier.
Who was it? Was it Tron or?
Tron definitely did.
Yeah. There was some big project that, and I certainly didn't want to end up there, and. We have a lot of things to say about it, so I was like, well, I'll just write it. And I I write for a living, so it's fine. I was happy to do it. But no, we've sort of developed this cool little community. I think our Discord has like 2,000 people in it, and it's mainly like miners and people who are interested in privacy. We didn't do a pre-mine. We didn't do a ICO. We tried to do like a super fair launch. So yeah, we're just.
So where can people find it?
Well, right now they can find it. Well, they can mine it.
Yep.
They can find it on Safe Trade, which is I think it's actually a Canadian exchange, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh no! Don't go there. It's the worst. Canadian exchange is not where you want to go. Use some like Vietnamese exchange, much better, much more safe.
Right. Yeah, I recently bought some DeFi project, and I think I made this it was like a South Korean exchange, and it was all in Korean, and I had to like use Google Translate to figure out.
Oh my gosh.
That's I'm telling you, man, it's much safer than
that
using
one.
a Canadian
That
exchange.
one's gonna 1000x for you because you put the effort into it.
I sure hope so.
That's funny.
Is that the only exchange that's on the Safe Trade?
Yeah, for now,
Okay, cool.
We can't talk about it.
I've heard rumors of some stuff coming up, so I'll be interested to see where that shows up next.
I'll just say no comment on that. But
Fair enough. I also have no comment.
Bully has no comment. Shock.
First time ever.
That's amazing. So that's exciting. Maybe keep your eyes peeled for some upcoming exchanges. Maybe not. We're not saying one way or the other here on Rekt
Not
Podcast.
financial advice.
It's not financial advice.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I will say this. So, I mean, I've been passionate about the topic of privacy for a long time. I feel like privacy is just being whittled away in all aspects of our life, from transactional privacy to like social media to Alexa and GPS tracking and like cameras in public, and every day it just feels like you have a little bit less privacy. So this is like what I am trying to do for the world. This isn't just like some fly-by-night project that I just put out. Like I've thought a lot about this, and I really care about this subject. So even if you're not interested in the project, like I'd encourage people to think about privacy and think about all the different ways their data is being shared and sold and used without their consent or without them getting $1 out of it. So
you're 100% correct too, just in the fact that how many people don't know that their privacy is being eroded. Mm-hmm. A couple of weeks ago, I was visiting some family, and we're talking about cell phones or whatnot. I think my mom just got like a new cell phone, and I'm like, oh, that thing's listening to you all the time. And she's like, what are you talking about? It's listening to me all the time. She's had it for a while. And I just said, say, hey, Siri. And because she uses she uses Siri a lot. I'm like, you know what that means, right? And she kind of looks at me with a, deer stuck in a headlight kind of look. I said, it means it's always listening. It's just waiting for you to say, hey, Siri. Like, that's it. Like, it's always listening. And now with, face recognition on your phone, I'm like, it's just always looking for your face.
TikTok.
Yeah.
Oh my God,
Don't even get me started with TikTok.
You can't even go try to be a rapper on TikTok anymore without your privacy being stolen.
So many middle-aged women are getting their privacy stolen from China.
Oh my God, have you seen the data that it sends back to Beijing? It's like what's on your clipboard, your GPS data, what your contacts are, what apps you have installed. It's
right.
Like every fucking data point on your phone is just being sent directly to the
And then they send you a bunch of
China.
seeds to plant in your backyard because they look at your backyard and it's sparse and it needs more foliage.
It's incredible. So, hopefully crypto. I've always hoped that crypto would be like the thing that could push back against this. But, people in crypto seem so quick to just like accept the fact that everything is publicly viewable and like there's no real transactional privacy, which doesn't seem to kind of jive in my mind. It's like either
you wonder how many really understand that too, though. Like, you know what I mean?
Right.
There's a lot of people out there that they're used to think that Bitcoin was private, and it's the furthest thing from that.
Oh my God! I mean? Yeah, it's
Well,
it's
I think too.
opposite.
You have this this weird bully. I'm assuming you're probably in and around our age. If you're in your mid 30s, you have this kind of one generation of crypto people, and then you have a significant chunk of people that are, say, under 30, and a lot of these people have grown up just with cell phones at the ready. Just their information constantly out there, whether through social media or not. But there's kind of these old, unfortunately, I'm probably one of the oldest guys in crypto, which is weird to say. But you have these old guys that kind of remember, like, hey, I remember, not having everything just being taken from me information wise at every given moment. And you have a big chunk of people that maybe don't remember that. And I think are maybe a little quicker, like Bunch said, like you guys said, maybe a little quicker to just say, hey, it is what it is. It's been like this forever. Let it.
Back in my day, yam was a food.
Back in my day, I could only play the snake game on my phone. But it's crazy. It's I think that it is weird because you do have some of the biggest proponents of crypto are of an age where their life experience doesn't have anything, doesn't necessarily have a big track record for privacy, and has just lived in a time where privacy hasn't really been there.
Yeah, no, I think it's sad to think about people just getting used to having sort of no level of privacy. And, the Fourth Amendment is ingrained in the Constitution to protect particularly the government from...
I thought you guys only had 2 amendments. I only hear about 2 of them. I'm sorry,
right.
There's a 4th?
Yes.
There's a 4th?
Yes. So the 3rd relates to quartering troops at your house, which doesn't
that's the best
very
one.
often.
That is the best one. There's a Twitter account that literally tweets every day just memes about not letting troops stay at his house, and it's the funniest account.
That's fantastic. I didn't know that was 3. I might read that. It seems like good reading.
It is good reading. It's short, too, so...
Oh, really? Right up my alley.
Right, perfect. But yeah, the Fourth Amendment, allows that people should be safe from the government prying into their papers and affairs. And, I think people have just become accustomed to that not really being the case anymore. And there's this strange bleed over now between, giant multinational corporations and the government. And, there's this raging debate, should Twitter be censoring the president? Twitter's obviously a private corporation, but they exert a lot of control and as far as public discourse and the way people communicate now. So it's almost like these large corporations are turning into these quasi-governmental entities, like a utility provider or something, where you could make the case that maybe you guys shouldn't be stealing everyone's data without telling them or without permission, because maybe that's violative of people's fundamental rights. But
now, do we just accept this and the terms and the the terms of agreement,
terms and conditions,
just agree all the time? Or are we just blindly accepting that?
Big time. I mean, I write privacy policies for a living, and if you read a privacy policy, they're ironically about how they're giving away all of your private data, because you can contract away basically anything that's not illegal. You can contract to, right? So if you want to say, I'll give you my data in exchange for using this site, that's a legally enforceable bargain.
Right.
California and Europe have passed laws recently, like the GDPR. In California, it's COPPA, which gives citizens a little more rights with regards to their data and privacy, but for the most part, it's just the Wild West, and corporations can do with it whatever they want. But that's my spiel. So
it's a good spiel. I mean, it's a good spiel. Privacy is important. So everybody, check out aerochain.io. Can they join your Discord as well? Is that?
Hell yeah. Yeah, our Discord's open. We recently reopened our Telegram because I like Telegram more than Discord.
I do too, but everybody uses Discord now, and it kind of makes me sad.
Yeah, and come in, share some memes, talk privacy. I'm happy to chat with people, and
I'll just start sharing all those the Third Amendment tweets.
Please do.
And awesome. So that's good. Now we got a couple more things here we're going to ask you about. One of which, it wouldn't be Rekt Podcast if we didn't ask you your best crypto Rekt story. So any all-timers to share with the audience?
Riggedy, Rekt, son!
Well, I won't go into Dragon Chain, but
I thought that was the one you were going to talk about, and I wasn't sure.
So I don't know if you guys remember UBQ.
Oh, yeah. I remember, who loved UBQ? Ledger.
Yeah.
Ledger loved UBQ.
Ledger and I were the biggest UBQ bulls back in 2017 in the pod. This is like the heyday of crypto. Yep. And at one point, I had like more money in UBQ than I'd like to admit, like 6 figures. And
oh, my God.
I decided that instead of selling it, like I should have, I was like, I could sell this. I could pay off like most of my mortgage, or I could pay off my student loans from law school. I could do all this great stuff. Instead of that, I remember there was an announcement on the UBQ Twitter account about how they were going to offer this governance token. They were going to do an airdrop where if you were, it was Escher, I think was the name of it. So you had to send the UBQ from the exchange to your wallet, and then they'd airdrop it. They'd take a snapshot. We know the drill. And so instead of selling it, I did that. And then I was like, well, I'll just hold on to it. This is a really good idea. And I think by the time I sold it, it was like $7,000.
Oh, no way.
I took that loss so hard.
Oh my God.
So that's by far not by far. That's one of my worst wrecked stories. And I'm sure like a lot of us from 2017 have those kind of brutal.
Yeah. I mean, one of my favorites that we heard was Crypto Chris Walken, where he would, he was in the Mt. Gox. He lost 1,000
on Mt. Gox,
1,000 Bitcoin in Mt. Gox, and then he would also, he was using Bitcoin at the time to buy like video game skins on, and so he would spend like 150 Bitcoin at a clip on like gun skins, which is so funny to me now. God. That was one of my favorite ones, but we've heard some good ones. BitLord lost 70,000 Ethereum in a trade. That's a big one. I don't remember what some of the other ones are. Chamber, any ring a bell?
Dumbs was funny.
Dumbs was about the urea, the piss token.
The piss token, yeah, that was pretty good. But yeah, no, it is funny that, and that's kind of why we like doing the show, is having that conversation. It's just like, hey, I know him from Twitter. You know what? And he's lost his shirt at one point too. So hopefully, I learned some things, and those people, stick around and. Don't rage quit crypto, because crypto is fun, and I think it's going to be a big life-changing thing if you stay in it long enough, at least over the next 5-10 years.
Yeah. I honestly thought 2017 would be like the tech boom, and then we'd see this sort of like the tech bubble in the early 2000s, late 90s, where then you saw this dramatic drop. And then like a slow sort of 10, 20 year long building cycle. But it looks like I'm wrong, and that DeFi's back with a vengeance. And we might see a bubble even bigger than 17 at this rate, but we'll see.
I'm ready.
My goodness.
My body is ready.
All right, Chamber. You wanna go into the last segment here?
Yeah, we got to do this one, Bully. As soon as we nailed down a time and date to have your episode, Bunch and I immediately agreed that we need to play Defend That Tweet with you.
The defense is not back, Mom.
Hey, let's get our energy going at the defensive end.
We playing defense.
I've spent Bunch and I have spent the afternoon perusing your Twitter feed. We have selected some choice tweets, and you tweet so much that I went through. I spent a good half an hour probably looking, and I only got to day 5. like 5 days ago. So kudos to you for, and honestly, there was not a lot of fluff in those tweets. So quality tweets consistently all throughout the day. So Bunch, do you wanna start with one?
Okay, I've got one here. I like this one. It's some action tweeting here. Opens Twitter app, sees 20 DMs. Who's fucking with me now? So tell us about your DMs on Twitter.
Oh my God. So this one was from yesterday when Crypto Messiah, our friend Messi, decided to bring his ape crew to attack me. Because Messi and I have this thing where if he ever tweets at me about Dragon Chain, I block him, like, immediately. No exceptions. He's blocked, and it usually lasts a couple days, but it can even stretch on to a week. So now Messiah is emboldened because he has all of these lackeys from his trading pit that he calls the apes. That he can sick on people. I saw that he solved a DoorDash customer complaint issue he had last night by invoking the apes.
Oh my God.
But anyhow, he was mad that I blocked him, so he tweeted that everyone should immediately DM me, ooh, ah, bullshit. So I open my phone and I just see 20 messages in the bottom right corner of the Twitter app. I'm like, what the fuck now? And then last week, Bitlord was like, oh, I'm going to give away two Bitcoins. Bully will manage it. Please DM Bully your story.
Oh my God.
And Bitlord has like 160,000 followers, many of whom are sort of suspect to begin with.
Right.
So I think I got like 50 DMs within 2 minutes.
Oh my God.
And it was just sob stories about, oh, I lost my job and like all these terrible stories.
That was mine. That was mine. That was my DM.
But
still waiting for my Bitcoin.
Come to find out, I doubt Bitlord actually gave those 2 Bitcoin away. But we'll see.
Yeah, probably didn't.
Just a side note about Messiah. His real life Rekt story was one of my favorites, where he called the cops on somebody. I forget what the issue was. He called the cops to try to get into his house or something.
Yeah.
And they ended up arresting him.
Oh boy!
Because he had I forget what he had, like unpaid tickets or something.
Yeah, he had some unpaid tickets. So when he called him over to open the house or to help him get in his house, they had an outstanding warrant, I think, for him, which that was pretty good. So I got one here for you.
Okay.
I like this one in particular. This is from August 10th, so 2 days ago. You're not trying to, quote, find yourself if you're in your 30s. You're just a fuck up. What state of mind were you in at the time of this tweet? Did you see somebody that was irking you? Was it a family member? Sometimes I like to tweet about my family members because I know they don't follow me, so I can really just vent on Twitter. Is this somebody you're hiding from, or is this somebody that you saw on Twitter in particular?
I forget. I don't think it was like one person in particular that precipitated that tweet. I was just like, I think I'm just like annoyed about our generation and below generally at like this concept that like everything needs to be super fulfilling and like you have to live out this like perfectly curated Instagram worthy life when like I think I mentioned earlier like, oh, our grandparents were fighting the Nazis and like it just seems so strange to be like, oh, I'm in my 30s and I'm just like still looking for myself. It's like, no, you're like middle age. That's like,
bitch, you're getting old.
Right, that's like halfway to death. Like you should have a family by now. Like,
right.
So yeah, I was.
Or like, not have a family actually. Or
right.
maybe those people shouldn't.
Yeah, maybe those people shouldn't have a family.
Yeah, maybe that's right. But it's just like this perpetual arrested development of our generation, where it's like, oh, I live in New York and I'm super cool, and like the whole thing. So it was just, I guess, a commentary on that. And like I like to kind of embellish things or make them controversial to get more engagement. I think
I don't know what that's like.
Right. Yeah.
Well, you don't know what the engagement part is
No,
like. You surely know the first part. Here's one that kind of coincides with that, I feel. You show me someone with a gambling problem, and I'll show you a loser.
Well, like, history is written by the victors, right? Like, if you're in a gambling rehab program, chances are you lost.
That's
but
very
like,
true.
you don't hear
The winner
about,
is not in the rehab program.
right. He's on ESPN, like making
Right.
millions of bucks at a poker table or something.
Yeah.
But I don't know. That one, yeah, I forgot about that one actually.
See, that's the best part of these. Like sometimes I do this with Chamber on the show, and I'll go back like 3 months, and I'll just pick his most ridiculous bullshit, and he'll be like, "Oh yeah."
Yeah, I did say that, didn't I?
All right, Chamber, you got one more, and then I'll finish it out.
Yeah, I got one more here for you. This is from August 7th, 5 days ago. Me, I should really stay on message like Luke and Cred. Those guys are super disciplined on Twitter. 5 minutes later, me. Whoa, someone put strawberries on a pizza. This must be stopped. Here's a thread about how pizza toppings austerity is necessary to preserve the culture.
Four retweets and 83 likes.
Yeah. Did somebody? Are you anti strawberries on pizza? I'm assuming.
Of course I am. I mean, I have dignity and self-respect. Like, I can't put strawberries on pizza. The pineapple's bad enough. Like, so sweet and savory, the whole thing together is disgusting, and like people need to knock it off. And it's going farther and farther. I saw like kiwi on pizza the other day.
All right, I actually have a follow up here. I'm a big Hawaiian pizza fan. I actually live the town where Hawaiian pizza was created is about 45 minutes from my house.
He's gonna hang up right now.
Yeah.
No, I get people not liking it, so that's all right.
So wait a second. You're telling me that Hawaiian pizza was not invented in Hawaii, yet it was invented in Canada?
In rural,
Okay, I think I'm gonna agree with Bully on this one. It must be stopped.
We're gonna
In
send
rural
in the
southern-
U.S. military.
in rural southern Ontario.
What are your thoughts on letting troops quarter in your home?
You don't have the Third Amendment, buddy. You better be careful.
I'm pro. So I do have a follow up though, because I've been trying to push a new pizza topping, and I haven't been getting a ton of traction with it yet. But when we make pizza at home, I always put it on, and that's sliced pickles. What are your thoughts there?
That's disgusting. Pickles
So
on pizza.
good. It's so good.
Is
Are
it-
you pro olive?
Well, I'm not going to. I mean, let me ask the question first. Is the pickle dill pickle, or is it a sweet like?
A dill pickle is what I typically go with. Okay. It's like a dill pickle.
I guess that's slightly more acceptable than like a bread and butter pickle, because I suppose
That would be fucking gross.
Pickles are cucumbers. Cucumbers are a vegetable. Like, I'll put like green olives or something.
Right, exactly. I'm not a big green olives fan, but I put green olives and pickles kind of in the same category. So I feel if you have one, you can have the other.
But pickling is a special process that imparts certain flavors that don't match well with pizza, and like in particular
The salts and the
cheese.
vinegar?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not going to send you to Guantanamo Bay for it. But
Okay, all right.
I'm not going to sign off on it either.
All right, that's fair. I wanted your feedback on that one because that is a topping I've been pushing lately, and I wanted to get your take on it because as much as we may not agree, I do value your opinion on these pizza topping takes. So
Sure. You don't
I
want to
do
be on
need
the
to
wrong
ask
side
though,
of the
right
law.
before we
that's true.
right before we wrap up here, I feel like you have some pretty aggressive ranch takes.
Yeah.
Is
Trash
that true?
pig sauce. That's what it's,
I'm anti ranch too. Is that where you're going with this?
yeah, let's dunk on ranch. Ranch
Yeah,
is disgusting.
ranch is garbage. I can't tell the difference between ranch and blue cheese.
Yuck. At least blue cheese has some like personality. Ranch is it's just like congealed fat that like people dip. Ugh. I get like physically repulsed by ranch.
You would have thought that you just like rubbed his fingernails on a chalkboard. The way his reaction was.
Ranch is 100% gross. I agree. Yeah, it is not consumable in my opinion. And yeah, I don't think there's I honestly think the VAT for blue cheese dip and ranch dip are the same VAT. So yeah, I haven't been proven wrong yet. I haven't seen ranch and blue cheese in the same place.
So the blue cheese you want to go with is like the one with like little bits of chunks in it of blue cheese, and then you couple those with hot wings and celery. That's the way to eat blue cheese dressing.
Gross. Oh, I'm gonna be sick now. I gotta go just eat some straight up chicken wings. Maybe a slice of celery on the side.
Okay.
But yeah, unfortunately, no blue cheese. That's gross.
I think that's gonna do it for us, Chamber. What do you think?
Yeah, we got some food takes in there.
We got
is what the people wanted. I think
we'll start collecting tweets now for the next appearance on the show.
Yeah.
It's probably a good idea, but like you said, you probably have enough content there. You don't need to collect for too long.
No.
Yeah, exactly. So anyway, before we get out of here, anything else that you wanted to mention that maybe we didn't get to, or, just tell people where to find you and the projects you're working on, anything like that?
Yeah, no, I mean, Twitter is probably the place where I'm most accessible, and it lists. So both my projects that we discuss on this podcast are listed in my bio, and they each have their own Twitter page and website and, corresponding places to check them out. So if you're curious about any of them, my DMs are open unless Messi has tried to intimidate me.
Unless you're an ape. Unless you're a dirty ape.
So, I one thing that's weird about hitting 100,000 followers is like I used to, in 2017 I had like 500 followers, and I enjoyed sort of like talking with people and DMing people, so like that's still the same, and if most of the time if people DM me, I tend to DM back, and so it's an interesting time with the market and stuff. So if people want to chat, I mean, I'm free. If you say something stupid, I'll probably block you, but my DMs are open at least, so yeah. Have at it.
Awesome. Sounds good. So check out alphamarket.io and aerochain.io, and check out Bully on Twitter if you're not already. There's 100,000 of you checking him out already on Twitter, so I doubt anybody listening to this isn't following you. But that is going to do it for us. So thank you very much, Bully. We've had a lot of fun. We hope to have you on again sometime in the near future. Anything else from you, Chamber?
No, we'll have all the links to Bully's projects in the show notes, along with a direct link to his Twitter, so you can follow him there. So anything we talked about here on the show, you'll be able to find in the show notes. So if you need anything, should be right there.
Perfect. Well, let's land this bird. That's going to do it for us. Until next time, don't get wrecked, and that is financial advice.
Hey everybody, thanks for listening. You can help support us by giving us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts and become a Rekt patron by signing up for a monthly tier on patreon.com. That's patreon.com/Rekt podcast. Don't get wrecked.